All right, well, he splashed onto the scene in a way that not many have ever done in Fierce FC history. He returns at the Maverick Center in just a couple of weeks. It is Brock Adams. Brock, great to talk to you, my man. How you been?
I've been good, just trying to train. That's it, pretty much, I guess.
I want to start things off with one of the most impressive stats in the history of Fierce Fighting Championship, a 7-second knockout that is tied for the fastest anyone has ever done in the hundreds and hundreds of fights that have happened at Fierce Fighting Championship. Talk me through that 7-second finish that you had back in March.
Well, it was definitely unexpected. I've been telling people this. I kind of wish it went longer, but I can't complain because 7 seconds. That's freaking cool. Like that's one of the coolest things that anybody can have happen to them. So I can't complain, but I did want it to go a little bit longer. I want more experience in there. I want to take this as far as I can. So experience to me is key. I want more experience.
No, I absolutely see. And that was actually going to be one of my questions was
Oh my
that
God.
if you wish that it had gone longer, because a lot of guys, they just want to get those reps, right? And you haven't really had that
Mhm.
opportunity in that live setting. Are you looking forward to maybe a tougher test in August?
Yeah, for sure. I've seen the one fight that he has. He looks big, he looks strong, and definitely looks like it could go the full 15 minutes
When you got that
or
finish
nine
back,
minutes, I guess.
9 minutes, yeah. Yeah, 9 minute fight. When you got that finish, did you realize that you had done something kind of spectacular? I mean, it was four punches. The final one was the one that put him down. Did you realize that you had done something? And maybe, I don't know if you thought immediately, oh, that's the fastest knockout ever, but you probably thought, oh, that was pretty quick.
I was kind of starstruck in the moment. Like I was kind of confused. I didn't know what really had happened. Like I hit him. I didn't really feel the punch that put him out. I didn't really feel that punch land. So I was like really confused that he was down. I was like, oh, I guess that just happened. Okay, cool.
How long did it take for you to kind of realize, like, oh, the fight's done? I mean, it was so quick that it must have been kind of a weird thing to process in real time.
I think it was right when I walked over to you guys, right where you guys were sitting, and I saw David, and I was like, oh, like wow, that just happened. I was like, let's go. Oh, like it just felt so good in that moment. I was like, everything that I'd been nervous of had just been paid off in that moment. It was so relieving, and it was just awesome. Such an awesome experience.
How long had you been waiting for that specific moment, that first debut win? Obviously, I would assume you were hoping that you would get a knockout in that debut win. How long were you waiting for something like that to happen?
Well, before I started fighting, I was more of a football guy. I've never thought that I'd fight. Never thought that I'd fight. So kind of when I accepted the first fight, I wasn't really expecting anything. I was going into it expecting to have a fight, to get beat up, to hurt somebody, to get hurt. I was not expecting that at all. It was just so crazy, and yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how to like answer that, man. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. It's interesting that you say that you never thought that you'd ever fight. When did it creep into your mind that it was a possibility?
Probably a couple months after I'd started training, I started to fall in love with it. Like right after my first jiu-jitsu tournament, I was like, "Oh, I'm doing this for the rest of my life." And I had decided like right after the tournament, I guess my coach Dana also asked me if I wanted to fight, and I was like, "You know what? Sure. Like let's do it. I definitely want to fight now. Like after the first jiu-jitsu tournament that I had, like let's fight. Let's do it. Let's get in there."
When did you get to a game and how did you get to a game? Because obviously a running back at Duchesne, not necessarily super close to a game. How did that all kind of come to be?
I moved out here a little bit after I graduated. I guess more so a year after I graduated, and just started working out here. Giving up on football, didn't want to go to college for it. Um, but I wanted to do something. Like I still wanted to compete. I love to compete. I'm very competitive, and I saw that Agima was somewhat close, and so I went and tried it out and fell in love with it.
Do you miss football ever? Do you ever are you ever in practice and you think to yourself like, man, I just wish I was on a field right now?
Sometimes, yeah. There's this. We do a ladder drill every week, and when we're doing the ladder drill, I'm like, oh, I wish I was running back still.
What made you a running back? What kind of like specific attributes did you have that made you A very high level running back, I might add as well.
I just worked hard. I started the position later than everybody else did. I started at running back in eighth grade, and most like everybody else in my town had already been there in their position for years, like 10 plus years. So I had to really catch up, and so I just threw everything I had into it, summer after summer, like year after year. I didn't do anything except for focus on being a running back and being the best running back that I could be, getting yards, getting touchdowns, like providing for my team. That was my goal, and just the hard work, I guess.
How much have you been able to transfer that and translate that into your fighting game, specifically the dedication that it takes to become good at this? Also, in a pretty short window, given what you were able to do versus when you stepped in the doors of a game.
I'd say my footwork has been the best thing that has carried me over into MMA, fighting in general. I don't want to say I have like amazing footwork, but I feel like for as long as I've been training for, I have good I have good footwork for that. And then, being a running back, I'm getting hit play after play. So, I mean, getting hit is nothing new to me. I've always loved it for whatever reason. I like to get hit. Um, I don't like to get hurt, but I like to get hit.
Let me ask you this. What is the difference between getting hit with a punch or a kick versus getting tackled by a massive player in the secondary?
The pressure, like the pressure difference. When you get hit by like a big middle linebacker, it's like a car crash, just a full blown car crash. And like in a fight, it's more precise. It's like, and that's what I like about it. It's more controlled precision, I guess, like a more controlled crash.
What has been your family and your friends' reactions to the 7 seconds that you have on paper right now, but also just fighting at large?
Well, every time I see anybody in my family or every once in a while at the gym, they go 7 seconds. I'm like, yeah, like it was cool. But my family, they're still very worried about it. They don't know how they feel about it yet. They know that I'm competitive and that I'm a good athlete, so they're not like worried that I'll get hurt too bad. But they're just family worried.
Does it ever get old to hear about the 7 seconds? Because you did mention like I want to be tested more. I want to be known for more than just a 7 second finish that I had. Does it ever get old for you to hear about that stuff or people to bring that up and that always be the first thing everybody wants to talk to you about?
I don't think it'll ever get old because, like I said, it's one of the coolest things to like experience. It's such a cool accolade to have, but at the same time, like I don't want to be known for the 7 second knockout. I feel like I'm more than just a 7 second knockout guy. Like I have skills, and I want to showcase that.
You are at a school and at a gym that is full of talent. I mean, we have a lot of champions that have come in the past and in the present that are at Agima. When talking to David Kim, who's a dear friend of mine, he had glowing reviews of you and your natural abilities and what you can become and your ceiling in this sport. Who do you try to emulate in that room? Because there is just so much talent coming out of Agima.
David has been one of my biggest inspirations because every time I talk to him, he's always just helping me either with some kind of technique or with my mentality. Like I was pretty scared going into that first fight, but I sat down and talked to David for maybe like 5 minutes after training session one time, and he just kind of like talked me through the fight and like it was like just accept that this is gonna happen, that you're gonna go in there and do this, and I was like, yeah. And then after that, like all my nerves kind of just eased. So David David has been a big inspiration for me since I've started training. There's something that somebody else does that I can take from him and I can improve with myself. So I don't emulate my game after just one person. I try to emulate after everybody in my gym because I learn from everybody.
What kind of a style do you think you have? Because we only have such a small sample size.
I'd hate to limit myself just to a single style
Sure.
because I like it all. I really enjoy all of it. But I'd say that I have most improved in my striking. So I'd say that I'm mostly a striker, I guess.
Let me ask you this as well. When did you get to Agima specifically? Like what year was it?
In November, it'll be 2 years.
Okay.
So I started in November of 2023, I think.
Is it wild to kind of look back and see how far you've come? Because what kind of fighter, what kind of a athlete were you when you started versus today in July of 2025?
Well, I was 30 pounds heavier. I was walking around at like 195, 200. Uh, that's a hard question to answer because I don't really feel any different. I just feel like I'm improving. Like I said at the beginning, I try to just work as hard as I can. I don't pay attention to the progress. The progress comes along with
Yeah.
it. The training is where it happens. So I just try to work as hard as I can.
Did those 35 pounds shed just because of the sheer hard work and the cardio that MMA takes?
And I kind of stopped working out as much as I did. I was in the gym 6, 7 days a week, like pumping
Sure.
some iron, you know what I mean? And I just don't do that anymore. I'd rather be mobile and fast.
Was it always a plan to lose weight once you got into a gym, or did that just kind of naturally happen?
It kind of just naturally happened. It definitely wasn't like intentional. But after like the first 6 months, I was like, dang, I'm like 180 pounds now. It's just falling off. But I like it. It's not a big deal.
Do you have plans to continue to maybe not necessarily intentionally lose weight, but do you plan to compete at this given weight class, or do you think of maybe going down in the future? What's your plans with that sense of things?
That I'm not too sure about. I've thought about going to 145, just because I am still losing weight, but I'm trying to stop losing weight. Like I want to stay where I'm at right now. I'm comfortable with where I'm at, so I want to stay at 155, but I'm not opposed to going to 145.
Who was it, or maybe what was it that gave you that fire to be the best that you can be in anything that you do?
Um,
Or have you just always been that way?
I wouldn't say I've always been that way. I was kind of lazy in high school. I wasn't. I say that, but I worked as hard as I could to be the best that I could. But in other senses, I was lazy. Like I was lazy with my diet, my sleep schedule, um, like academic stuff. I was just lazy in all of the excess categories, I guess. And now I'm trying to be like the best that I can be, period. Like health wise, spiritually wise, mentally wise, physically wise, all of that. Um, but I'd say that the point where that kind of flipped was after I lost my fourth state championship. After my senior high school football state championship. I was sick of it, and I was like, no, I'm not feeling like a loser ever again. I'm gonna work my ass off and actually get somewhere. And yeah,
Hey guys, Blake here. Just jumping in really quickly. Brock and I got on a little bit of a tangent during this conversation, which was his storied high school football career, in which he went to multiple state championships with Duchesne High School. His coach, Jerry Cowan, is the winningest head coach in the history of Utah high school football. That all being said, Brock had a lot of glowing words to say about his former coach and the impact that he's had on him and how he is moving it forward into his MMA career. So we'll jump into that part of the conversation.
so Coach Cowan has been my foundation for training. Like everything that I know, every like way that I know how to train, it comes from him. My work ethic, like everything that I learned in high school that I do now came from him. Like when to train, how hard to train, when to quit, when not to quit. Um, a lot of mentality stuff. He was like one of the biggest hard-headed, like grind it out,
Yeah.
win kind of guys that you'll ever meet in your life, and I loved that. Like, and he was all about the kids too. He wasn't just about winning. Like, he was all about the kids. He loved every single one of us. He wanted us to succeed, and of course, he wanted to be the best. So he pushed us all week after week, and I mean, it's worth it. We played in state championships and everything, but didn't ever win.
Talking a little bit about Coach Cowan and all of that. Is he aware of what you did in March, and is he at all following along with your MMA career?
I'm not sure. It'd be cool if he was. Maybe I'll text him later today, see how he's doing. I haven't texted him in a while, but it'd be cool if he was. He's actually one of the guys that I would want to like pay attention and tune in every once in a while because, like I said before, he's like my foundation to how I work and do things.
Last question from me, and we'll wrap this up, is Aspen Kobayashi. You mentioned that you've watched his fights and things like that. When you kind of forecast that matchup and what you two bring to the table, what are you most looking forward to on August 16th?
He's a tough son of a gun, is what it looks like. So I think I'll get what I'm wanting is experience, and I'm looking forward to that.
I said last question. I lied to you. I got one more. Are you looking
No
forward to
worries.
competing in the Maverick Center?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's telling me that it's the biggest card of the year, and I believe them. It looks like it. Every fight on there looks like a banger, and I'm just honored to be a part of it. Really.
Yeah, we can't wait for it. You two will be cutting the curtain in what should be an absolutely stacked card with an absolutely stacked matchup to start. Brock Adams, such a pleasure to talk to you, my man. Looking forward to it. Can't wait. Thank you so much.
Thank you.